Welcome to the land of Runeterra. Maybe you clicked on this video because you've heard of Legends of Runeterra or one of Riot's other properties before, like League of Legends, Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, or the awesome Arcane show on Netflix. No matter why you're here, my goal is the same: to arm you with knowledge about the process of building a collection in Legends of Runeterra. Legends of Runeterra, or LOR for short, is a collectible card game that allows players to accrue a collection of cards and use those cards to build fun and creative decks. Those decks can then be used against other players, friends, or the AI. Unlike most collectible card games, LOR has a reputation for being very generous in its monetization, and therefore very free-to-play friendly. Today, I want to dive deeper and discuss whether or not that's true. Before you go any further, I should make this clear. This video won't offer any advice on gameplay. My goal here is just to discuss LOR's free-to-play experience and monetization, so you'll know what to expect. Before we get started though, we do need to define some terms. Legends of Runeterra has a few different currencies, which I'll list here. First, wildcards. Wildcards come in common, rare, epic, and champion varieties. Each one can be exchanged for any card of its associated rarity. Cards themselves in LOR are split into the same four rarities: common, rare, epic, and champion. These can be acquired in-game through various methods, or purchased with coins. More on those soon. Shards are a non-premium currency, so they can't be purchased with real money. Shards can be used to purchase individual cards, just like wildcards. They can also be used to enter expeditions, Runeterra's limited mode, where you use cards outside your own collection to build a deck. Shards can be acquired in-game through various methods. Coins are Runeterra's premium currency. These can only be acquired by paying money, at least $5 at a time. The exchange rate varies a bit based on how many coins are purchased at once, but it's pretty close to $1 for 100 coins. From now on, when something in Runeterra costs coins, I'll just refer to its cost in dollars to make it easier. Expedition tokens are used to play expeditions for free. You'll get one per week from opening your vault, even if you don't otherwise play at all that week. Now let's move on to rewards. First, we have capsules, which come in common, epic, and champion varieties. There are also wild capsules. Capsules and chests, which we'll get to in a second, are similar to booster packs from other card games, in the sense that they come with at least a couple cards, with guaranteed minimum rarities. Each capsule has 5 cards. Next, we have chests, which come in bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond varieties. Each chest has some cards or capsules, and some shards. For the rest of this video, when you get capsules or chests for rewards, I'll translate them to their value in cards and shards instead. It's just easier to understand, and that's why I'm here.
I follow only one path, my own. I go where the road takes me.
Now let's talk about the free-to-play experience in Legends of Runeterra. LOR offers 3 main ways to acquire cards for free, which is of course essential to a free-to-play player. Before I discuss those, I should explain how you'll acquire most of these rewards, which is through experience. Experience, or XP, is awarded when, speaking broadly, you play the game. More specifically, you'll earn XP when you play constructed games against a real player or the AI, play gauntlets, play expeditions, complete challenges, play against your friends, or play games in the lab. With over half a dozen different modes, all of which offer experience, there's something here for everyone. LOR offers a variety of ways to earn XP, and avoids forcing players into a particular play pattern. Honestly, I recommend against min-maxing this game if you're the type to get burned out. Just do what you think is fun, and you'll collect plenty of experience. Although Runeterra's XP system is intentionally flexible, here's how I maximize my daily rewards without playing for hours on end. Every day I go for 3 wins in PvP, but gauntlets and expedition also work. because the first 3 daily wins offer bonus XP, for a total of 1300. Then, I win 3 games in labs, since that mode has a separate 3 daily win tally. That's 2600 XP so far. Finally, I try to complete my daily quest, which is worth another 1000 or even 1500 XP. In total with this method, I can earn anywhere from 3600 to 4100 XP per day of moderate play. This takes me about an hour or so. Now that you understand XP, let's talk about the 3 main ways that a free-to-play player can earn rewards. The first one is the weekly vault. During the week, you'll level up your vault by collecting XP. Every Thursday morning, you can open your vault and receive a bunch of loot all at once to reward you for your play over the previous 7 days. At that point, the vault reverts back to level 1, and it all starts over again. In my opinion, the major breakpoints in terms of vault rewards are at levels 5, 10, and 13. Let's go over them. First, we have vault level 5, which requires 4000 XP, or about 1 day of moderate play per week. Remember, this means completing your daily quest, getting 3 wins in PvP, and getting 3 wins in labs. Vault level 5 ensures at least 1 random champion, 3 rares, 8 commons, and 500 shards. This is the first vault level where you're really guaranteed to earn a champion card, which is the centerpiece of almost every deck. If you want to play just occasionally, and build a collection fairly slowly, this is what I recommend. Vault level 10 requires 13,000 experience, or about 3 to 4 days of moderate play per week. It also ensures at least 1 champion wildcard, 5 rares, 24 commons, and 700 shards. This is the first vault level where you get a champion wildcard, which can be traded for any champion of your choosing. This level of play will help you build specific decks that you're interested in more quickly without relying on the luck of the draw. If you want to build a collection fairly quickly and someday collect every card without spending money, this is what I recommend. Finally, we have Vault level 13, which requires 25,000 XP, or about 6 to 7 days of moderate play per week. Vault level 13 ensures at least 1 champion wildcard, 9 rares, 36 commons, and 1500 shards. This is the point of diminishing marginal returns. After Vault level 13, each additional level requires 4500 XP and awards just 1 rare and 4 commons. If you want to build a collection very quickly and complete it in about a year without spending money, level 13 is what I recommend. Also, if you open your vault at any level, you'll always receive 1 expedition token, which can be exchanged for a free run in the expedition game mode. I didn't include the potential expedition rewards in this vault breakdown because they're based on your performance, but we'll get to them later. Next, let's talk about region rewards. In LOR, many of your rewards will arrive as a lump sum in your weekly vault, but others can be earned gradually, including region rewards. Cards in this game are split between 10 regions. Each deck can only include cards from up to 2 of those regions. Region rewards allow you to focus on getting cards in your favorite regions first. By selecting a region, you can progress down its region road, earning cards for that specific region as you reach various XP thresholds. You can change your selected region at any time, as often as you like. Also, selecting a region for rewards doesn't mean that you can only play cards from that region while it's selected. The region road you have selected only affects the cards you get, not the cards you can play. It's hard to summarize the expected value of region rewards as precisely as I did for the vault. That's because gaps between reward thresholds vary widely, anywhere from 250 to 5,000 XP between them. The rewards themselves also vary, and can include capsules, chests, wildcards, and a few cosmetics. However, I can give a few pointers. First, try to change your selected region frequently. The beginning of the region road tends to be more generous, with smaller thresholds between rewards. Also, you'll get bonus XP for the first 12 levels on most of the region roads. This is done to help new players catch up more quickly. You should also think about the rewards that you care about. For example, if you're looking for Sejuani, which is a champion from the Freljord region. Check your Freljord region road and activate it if you're due for a random Freljord champion or champion capsule sometime soon. Thirdly, let's talk about Expeditions. Expedition is a limited mode, meaning you'll build a deck on the fly using cards outside your collection. It's also a paywalled mode that requires 1 Expedition token, 2,000 shards, or $2 in coins per run. Let me offer some subjective thoughts on it. Expedition rewards are intentionally fairly modest in LOR. This is to disincentivize people from playing the mode just because they feel like they have to. At the same time, it also means that even if you're an excellent Expedition player, while you will profit, the mode won't be extremely lucrative. After all, the main benefit of a 7-win trial is 2,000 extra shards, which is 2/3 of the cost of a champion of your choice. Not bad, but also nothing crazy. I don't say all of this to discourage you from playing the Expedition mode. Expeditions are a unique and skill-intensive experience that some players will love. But for others, they'd prefer to spend their time on other game modes, and those players won't suffer too much from skipping it. With that said, all players get 1 free Expedition token per week, simply for claiming their weekly vault. If you don't want to play Expeditions, you can still use your free tokens to enter and immediately retire, before even beginning a trial. This will still award you with at least 1 epic, 2 rares, and 2 commons. However, you can only earn rewards for your first 3 Expeditions per week. After that, they're free to play, but they offer no rewards. So keep that in mind if you've saved up a large amount of Expedition tokens and you'd like to cash them in all at once. It's just not possible. Let me give you one word on random packs. If you've ever played a card game or any modern free-to-play game at all, you are probably familiar with gacha mechanics. A gacha mechanic is one that encourages players to spend either in-game currency or real money for the chance to obtain a valuable in-game item. Card games offer a gacha mechanic in the form of booster packs, which offer cards with a fixed minimum rarity, but a low probability of finding any particular card. Gacha mechanics are often criticized for being manipulative ways to extract money from players. LOR doesn't really follow this model, however. Although the game does offer booster packs in the form of capsules and chests, these are only given as rewards for achievements in-game. They can't be purchased for any kind of currency, whether or not it's free or premium. Most other collectible card games emphasize booster packs purchased with in-game currency, or even real money, as the primary way to build your collection. LOR gives these out for free instead, and also offers players plenty of chances to collect exactly the cards they want for free. Let me explain what to expect out of LOR if you want to build just one deck, for example. As of the time that I'm scripting this video, there are 14 S or A tier decks, according to mobalytics.gg. On average, each of these decks plays 5.79 champions and 3.07 epics. Let's round those numbers to 6 champions and 3 epics. I've always personally had a surplus of common and rare wildcards, by the way. They're given out really frequently, so we can assume that you'll either have the necessary commons and rares when you need them, or you'll be able to acquire them very quickly. After doing some math on weekly rewards from the vault, and region rewards, as well as your expedition, it takes about 5 to 6 weeks for a new free-to-play player to build a new deck entirely from scratch. Leave a comment, by the way, if you'd like to see my math on that. In reality though, 5 to 6 weeks to build a deck doesn't really tell the whole story. First, it takes 5 to 6 weeks for a new player to build a deck from scratch. That ignores the random epic and champion cards that players can collect every week. As you play, you'll collect random cards here and there that will come in handy someday. By my math, a new player can expect to collect about 1 random champion and 3 random epics per week. Eventually, those random cards do start to coalesce into real decks that you can play. Second, as your collection grows, you'll earn shards faster. Once you own 3 copies of any common or rare card, any copy after that will turn into some shards instead, 15 for a common and 60 for a rare. These shard refunds may not sound like much, but they build up fast when you consider all the cards you'll be earning from your weekly vault and region rewards. Also, they let you turn extra commons and rares, or the chaff, into epics or champions that you really need. By the way, epics and champions have duplicate protection in this game, meaning that the game will automatically switch the 4th copy of any epic or champion that you receive to a different card of the same rarity. Third, as you advance down a region road, the quality of rewards improves. Basic capsules and bronze chests stop showing up, and better rewards like epic and champion wildcards start showing up instead. Fourth, until now I've ignored the possibility of random upgrades, so let me explain. In short, every card, capsule, chest, and wildcard has a between 5 and 20% chance of upgrading to a better one of a higher rarity when you collect it. For example, let's take your typical 0-win expedition, the worst outcome, which will offer you at least 1 epic, 2 rares, and 2 commons. Just as an example, one of those rares could become a rare wildcard, and one of the commons could become a rare. In that case, you would instead have 1 epic, 1 rare wildcard, 2 rares, and just 1 common. Also, shards and chests work similarly. I've been quoting the minimum so far, but the exact amount is usually higher. Finally, new players also accrue experience at a 50% boosted rate for the first 12 levels of most of the region roads. A player starting today will really be able to hit the ground running. This is all to say that my initial assessment, that it will take you about 5 to 6 weeks to build an average meta deck of your choosing, is the worst case scenario. What then, you may ask, is a more realistic depiction of the free-to-play experience. I like to divide the free-to-play experience in LOR into about 3 phases, based on how long you've been consistently playing and reaching vault level 10 or so. For the first 1 to 2 months, you'll probably rely heavily on the 29 champion cards that you'll receive for free when you get started. Your shards and wild cards will probably either be saved or they'll be used to improve one of those starting decks. After your first 2 months though, you can get more flexible. By then, you should have a decent pool of randomly collected champions and epics from many of the regions. You'll still have major gaps in your collection, but you should be able to build any deck you want by focusing your shards and wild cards on it for about 3 weeks. After your first 6 months, you'll probably have a lot of wild cards and shards saved up, or at least you'll be collecting them really quickly. While your collection isn't complete, it should be large enough for you to build any deck you want by focusing on it for just a week or so. You may be wondering what you should be doing first in this game, while your collection is still small. Luckily, LOR starts all players off with over 24 copies of champion cards that can be collected in just the first week of play. Currently, more champions are also being given away for free by progressing through the Path of Champions lab mode, but it's unclear if this is a limited time event or if it will stick around. According to a Mobalytics article that I'll link in the description, these are the champions that you'll receive for free during your first week. Also, here's the region breakdown for those champions. Each deck can only use cards from 2 regions, so try to pick a region combination that sticks out to you and has some synergy. The classic recommendation for a budget deck for new players is a Spider aggro deck that plays Elise and Darius. This deck aims to swarm the board quickly and close out the game with big finishers like Darius, Captain Farron, and Decimate. It teaches important lessons about the mulligan, trading units, and even managing board space. It's also completely free and can be improved as you progress. I'll include a link below. You should also feel free to start making your own decks and testing them out against the AI. I like to find multiple cards with interesting synergies and then build a deck around those. For example, champions like Lux, Jinx, and Misfortune all can help contribute to Swain's level up. Or you might notice that Braum and Garen both have regeneration, and Soraka benefits when your units get healed. When you're building your own decks, not every idea will work out, but that's just part of the fun. Anyway, that's just my personal overview of the free-to-play experience. The next section will focus on where to spend your money if you do want to spend some money.
Looks like I'm on a hot streak.
If you decide that the schedule I laid out above isn't quite fast enough, you can always speed things up a bit by spending money. However, Do not be overzealous. You probably shouldn't buy the largest bundle of coins, for example. It's not a very big discount, and you might not end up needing it. Similarly, before you buy a whole deck by spending coins on wildcards, ask yourself if you'd like to wait a week or so to acquire more of the cards for free first. Other than cosmetics, LOR has just 3 main ways to spend your coins. The first is the Event Pass. When there's a new expansion, Legends of Runeterra tends to run an event, which means you'll earn a special kind of currency by playing the game and by completing special quests in various game modes. This currency can then be cashed in for rewards. As of the time that I'm writing this video, the Path of Champions event is ongoing. During this event, players can earn Hextech marbles by playing the game, which will level up the event path and generate rewards for each 10 marbles collected, up to 270. Without paying anything, players are eligible for about 1/3 of these rewards, for $9.75. The remaining 2/3 can be unlocked. The total rewards for the paid event pass that aren't available on the free version include at least 13 rares, 62 commons, and 2,220 shards, for a starting value of $12.32. This is technically at least $2.57 of extra value compared to spending your coins on wildcards. This value will increase when your cards, wildcards, chests, and/or capsules upgrade, and when you get more than the minimum number of shards. However, the value could also decrease if you pull duplicate commons or rares, because it's better to get actual cards instead of a partial shard refund. Plus, the expected value of $12.32 is spread across multiple types of in-game currency and random cards, so it's worse than wildcards if your goal is to build particular decks. Also, collecting all the rewards requires completing the event path, even if you purchase the premium pass. This doesn't require a ton of time investment, but it does mean that if you take a break during that month, you'll lose out on some potential rewards. And yet, despite all of this, I still usually purchase the premium event pass, mostly for the cosmetics. On the current Path of Champions event pass, there are 18 different cosmetics that are only available on the premium track. These include card backs, icons, pets, emotes, and prismatic cards, which are this game's equivalent of holographics. Most cosmetics in Legends of Runeterra can only be purchased with coins, or real money, so I think of the event pass as a way to break even on cards while also collecting a large amount of cosmetics at once. The event pass keeps me happy and prevents me from spending money on cosmetics outside of events. It's a meh value for the actual cards, but a great value if you're interested in showing off your individuality in-game. Wildcards, on the other hand, are the paid option for the player who knows exactly what they want. They're simple and straightforward. You pay money for coins, you spend those coins on wildcards, and you use those wildcards to get exactly the cards that you need. I mentioned earlier that the average meta deck at the moment has about 6 champions and 3 epics. It also has about 10 rares and 21 commons. That means if you purchase an entire deck with wildcards that you purchase with coins, you'll need to spend about $26.70 on average. For a card game, even a digital card game, that's very good. For example, Magic Arena and Hearthstone both often require players to purchase over $100 in packs to be able to craft some more expensive decks. So even for paying players, Runeterra is pretty cheap. With that said, I still encourage players thinking about spending money to carefully consider how quickly they could collect some of these cards naturally, or to focus on a deck that they already have a head start on to offset some of the cost. Finally, you can spend coins, real money, on expeditions. Expeditions offer rewards based on performance, so it's hard to make unqualified recommendations about the mode, especially when you're not just paying for the rewards themselves. Really, you're also paying for the fun of the draft. In other words, if you find expeditions very fun, or you're very good at them, it's probably a good use of your money. If not, expeditions are harder to recommend. Nevertheless, let's do a little math on the topic. It costs $2 in real money to enter an expedition if you do it with coins. Expedition rewards are based on your number of wins on the better of your 2 trials. Someone much smarter than me, linked in the description, did some math to determine the distribution of wins when you take both trials into account. Basically, the average player's best of 2 trials will have 4 wins. Assuming no random upgrades, the rewards for 4 wins are 1 epic, 2 rares, 2 common wildcards, 2 commons, and 300 shards, for a dollar value of about $2.50. For context, a 0-win run is worth about $2, and a 7-win run is worth about $4.60. My interpretation is this. Expeditions are guaranteed to, so to speak, break even, but only if you value random cards the same as cards of your choice. And on average, you'll even do a bit better than break even by this metric. This is relevant if you're mainly aiming to fill out your collection, but if you're like most players, you probably want some cards more than others. Therefore, unless you're consistently getting 6 or 7 wins, unless you're trying to build a full collection, or unless you just really like the mode, I personally advise against grinding expeditions. Also, let me be honest here. If I'm spending money to get cards faster, in a game that's basically free already, I probably don't want to spend over an hour per run to profit less than $3 at the very best. But that's just my opinion.
More mushrooms! Ooh, quite a collection!
Now that I've discussed the free-to-play experience, and how to get the most bang for your buck if you're spending real money, let's speak to the completionists. What should you do if you want to max out your collection? Well, the first tip's really easy. Don't quit. After playing Legends of Runeterra for about 6 months, from March to September 2020, life happened. I took almost a year off, returning with the addition of the final region, Vandal City, in August of 2021. In that time, I went from about 80% completion to 40%. New cards were released, and time marched ever forward. The good news is that in the last 3 months, I've climbed back to 70% completion, with about 100,000 shards and plenty of common and rare wildcards waiting in the wings. By my current estimates, I'll be able to complete my collection in another 2 or 3 months, even taking new expansions into account. Remember, don't burn yourself out if you're a completionist. This is a very generous game that rewards frequent light to moderate play more than intermittent heavy play. If you're not careful, it can be easy to obsess too much about your progression and over-optimize your play to the point that you're thinking more about the grind than the game itself. That might work for other people, but for me, that's how I get tired and end up setting the game aside completely. Here's some more specific advice. The closer you get to completing your collection, the more you'll realize that epics, not champions, are the real bottlenecks. For that reason, I suggest saving some shards to spend on epics and not dumping them all into champions. You're only guaranteed 1 champion and 1 epic per week, but there are way more epics in the game. This might also be a good time to use those expedition tokens that you've been saving up and actually play your trials instead of instantly retiring the run for a quick epic capsule. Also, if you're not going to use a common or rare right away, just don't spend a wild card on it. Unlike champions and epics, commons and rares don't have duplicate protection. That means that if you craft 3 copies of a common or rare, and you pull a 4th, it won't be swapped out with a card that you're still missing. Instead, you'll just be reimbursed with 15 to 20% of the card's value in shards. It would have been way better to hold on to the wild card, pull the card naturally, and still have your wild card later to spend on something else. Once your collection is complete, to be honest, you can slow down. At the very least, you should still log in at least once a week to claim your level 1 vault, since you'll miss it if you don't log in. Consistently reaching vault level 5, or about 1 day of moderate play per week, is enough to keep pace with new expansions and not fall too far behind. If you're picking and choosing when to play the most, by the way, events are the best time. Event passes generally last about a month and offer additional rewards, even if you don't pay for the premium one. But once the month is over, any rewards that you haven't earned yet are lost.
Tomorrow has never looked so good!
Here's my final verdict. While I haven't played every TCG or CCG out there, I do have almost 20 years of experience in card games, including Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, Duel Links, Magic Arena, and now Legends of Runeterra. When you compare all of these games in terms of time and cost to create decks and build a collection, Legends of Runeterra is the most attractive by far. Players can build competitive decks in a matter of weeks without spending any money or playing for more than a few hours a week. For those players who want to jump in at the deep end and play meta decks on day one, that's available to you, and the price is lower than any of the other card games I mentioned. And for players who want to complete their collection someday, in Runeterra this is no Sisyphean task. A full collection can currently be accomplished without too much trouble in about a year. And while this estimate will increase over the coming years, it will remain solidly within reach. So, if your question is, how cheap is Legends of Runeterra really? My answer is, really cheap. If you're still here, thank you for watching this video. I've always loved card games, and Runeterra is up there at the top of the list. I know the video is a little dense, so feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to respond as soon as I can. I also plan to start uploading more videos, including gameplay guides, so stay tuned until next time.